Welcome to the Modern Chess Masterpieces. This is our fifth episode. We'll be seeing a game played by world champion Magnus Carlsen and Black was Chinese Grandmaster Li Chao. This is from 2015 Qatar Masters. The game started with Grunfeld and the f3 variation, which was very popular, which gained popularity particularly after, I would say, before the Gelfand match. And in the Gelfand match, we also employed f3 variation. And it became very topical. Even now it's extremely popular. So very standard way of playing. White keeps the center but compromises with his development on the king side. Often he would like to castle on the queen side. So castle, queen d2, knight c6, long castle. This is one of the main position in f3 Grunfeld, and at this point there are two major alternatives. One is to play f5, which happened in the game. The other one is to play queen d6 and then try to create something on the queen side. f5 happened in the game, e5, knight b4. So this is the argument Black is giving. Black is saying, you're not going to get d5 quickly because e5 is hanging, and otherwise I am going to take complete control over this d5 square. Somehow this particular setup with f5 and knight b4, it was considered a bit difficult. That's why the move queen d6 got more popularity. But after this game, this particular line even lost its popularity, and this game had huge influence on that. So knight h3 was played. White is saying, yeah, I want to get my knight to f4 or g5. Li Chao had this position before, and he actually played twice. And in both of those games, he played a5. So it's clear that Magnus prepared. He knew what he was doing and he was ready for it. But we will never know what was his preparation. All I can say here is king b1 and a3 are computer's top choice, and those are critical lines for Black. In the game, Li Chao came up with his own improvement, playing queen e8. A multi-purpose move. You keep an eye on the a4 square. And also, in some cases after knight f4, Black is ready to play g5 when there is no knight h5 happening. So this queen from e8, it is controlling two key squares. Now, very interesting moment happens from this point. White is playing a little bit slow. So he says, okay, if I go knight f4, you probably play queen f7 and then you play g5. But if I keep my knight on h3, you cannot move your bishop from c8. Because when you come bishop e6, then I can attack your bishop. Then the question comes, what happens to this pawn then? An answer lies on what Magnus played, king b1. Stopping bishop e6. If you would play bishop e6 now, you would run into knight f4 or knight g5. So the bishop stays on c8. a5 was played. Black is also waiting. Black is saying, okay, fine, play knight f4. Once you play knight f4, then I'll throw you g5 because, okay, this square is not there. White says, okay, I wait. Once again, you cannot play bishop e6. So this waiting continues. Black waits again. Once again, Black is saying, I am controlling the d5 square. So please show me how you are going to play. White keeps on improving his position. Rook to c1. Says, okay, I am developing very slowly. Please show me your plan. Now, one might argue, why not to play a4? a4 we can play a3. Because if we would play a3 at, let's say, at this point, then the pawn is on a5 and the knight is not attacked. So Black can even think about playing bishop e6. When we just take. And after bishop e6, we cannot attack this bishop because we have weakened the square. So that's the reason we cannot play a3. So rook c1. Here it was not clear how Black should continue. In fact, Black should have played at this point the move bishop e6, allowing both knight f4, which would be better for White, and then to play f4, or to go knight g5, attacking the bishop when there is Black bishop must go to d7. So anyhow, in the game, Black played king h8, getting away from this diagonal so that there will be no check coming. But now, coming into this rook's x-ray, White still waits. White plays king a1. Now, one can say, okay, his king is also under attack, my king is also under attack. But what file do you think is easy to open? It is very easy to open this file, and it's not that easy to open the A file. Hence, the king on h8 is weaker than the king on a1, as we will see in the game. So, in the game, bishop e6 was played. Probably once again, the best choice was to play knight 6 d5 and to delay this and continue the cat and mouse game. But that did not happen. Bishop e6 was played. knight f4, attacking the bishop. Black plays queen f7, which is logical. He wants to attack on a2. Now a standard way would be to take on e6 and then continue our kingside play. But Magnus plays with utmost precision, completely different than his usual style. We all know that Magnus is, the master of squeezing water from stone, this positional grinding. But this game was completely opposite. He goes for the king. He says, I'm going to mate you. What are you going to do? At this point, the best move would have been, first of all, what white is threatening. White is threatening to play h5, and after g5, there is a fork. So from that point of view, rook f d8 would have been wise, because a move like h5, g5, knight g6 check, of course we cannot take, but after king g8, this knight is actually not doing much, and in fact black is better. However, the strong move, which must have been Magnus's intention, is to play knight h3, keeping an eye here and then preparing h5. If black plays h5, we blow up the king side with g4. This did not happen in the game. Li Chao again played a very tempting move, bishop into a2. He is saying, okay, you want to mate me, I also want to mate you. And the race begins. h5. Now after g5, there is knight g6 check, or even stronger, to play h6 when there is no square for the bishop, and we open the h file. So h5 king g8 was played, h into g6, h into g6. How to mate here? Pause the video for 5 minutes and try to figure out a way. So Magnus goes for a plan where he wants his queen on h2. For this we need to remove these two pieces. g4. Queen is coming to h2. If let's say a4 happens, we can even take here a3. What move should we play here? This should come in 1 second. I'm pretty sure you found the move. Yes, we play b3. We don't open the file, and he can take queen takes b3 if he wants. All his pieces are near our king, but if you look at this, all these pieces are actually has become white shield. There is no way to attack. Only if black could magically take the a3 pawn out, then he wins. But that's not happening. So we just play knight g6. We say, okay, you have zero threats. Absolutely zero. There's just no threat that is visible. And white wins. So after g4, Li Chao played bishop to b3. What should white play? Once again, 5 minutes, and try to figure out more than one options. More than one option. Like there are multiple ways to get the queen to h2. In the game, the most logical bishop d1 happened, keeping an eye on b3. But it was also possible to play bishop f1, which is computerized, and also the most aesthetically pleasing move, bishop to a6. This is also winning, by the way, because it delays black's attack, and anyway white is coming on h7. The variations are complicated. I mean, it's possible for black to play rook f b8 and try to run with the king. We will see that in bishop d1 variation. So here we are keeping an eye on this b3 bishop as well. So for example, let's say a move like rook f d8 or rook f b8. We take queen takes b3 and we go queen h2. This turns out to be mate. So in the game, Li Chao played a4, very strong move. White must play only move, but which is also natural. Queen h2, going for mate. Rook f d8, queen h7 check, king f8. gf5 was possible to get a position like gf5, and it turns out black cannot create a mating net here. Like for example, if knight c2, we just take and get away from any kind of mate on a1. But it did look scary. Magnus played the move d5, attacking the knight on b6. And here the game gets into very interesting position. Like really it heats up. Knight c4 was played. The position is +8. Try to figure out a way for white. And be very careful. It is +8, but it is not trivial. For example, a move like e6 and now a3, it's time to resign. This did not happen. So Magnus took on g6, king e8, and only now played e6. Because e takes f7 is coming with a check. But Li Chao finds a brilliant idea, a3. Did you spot this beforehand? Or did you leave it by saying e into f7 wins? If you left it here, e into f7 win, then now it is time to figure out one more time how to win this position from white. Once again, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes and try to find out. If you have chosen b into a3 at this point, then that's not the correct answer. After rook into a3, king b1. If black wants, black has a draw with bishop a2 check, knight a2. If knight a2, rook b3 is mate. So king a1, bishop b3, king b1. However, It is black who can win here. Once again pause the video, take 5 minutes and see if you can win here as black. This was Li Chao's spectacular idea. Black gives a checkmate now, it's not white who is giving checkmate. So black gives bishop c2 check. So if rook into c2, what to do now? Now we give rook b3 check. If king c1, knight d3 is mate. If king a1, then there are multiple ways to mate. Let's say knight into c2 and rook a8 is one of them. But what about after bishop c2, bishop into c2? It turns out now there is rook a1 check. King into a1 is forced, bishop into c3 check, king b3, knight a3, king b1, knight a3 is mate. What a spectacular way white is getting mated. So what was the winning continuation? There are two ways. White can include d into c6 or do it without, but essentially the plan is same. We need to distract these pieces. We have to get rid of the knight from c4. So knight e5 check, bishop into e5, queen into f5 check. King must move to c7 and it's very important to get rid of this knight. So queen takes e5 check. And the problem is black must take here with his knight. If he goes king c8, we give queen e6 check, king b8, we go bishop f4 check, forcing the king to come to this a file, blocking his own rook, and then we take b into a3. So queen into e5 forces black to take on e5, and finally the bishop hangs, we take it. Now the smoke has cleared and white is completely winning. Takes. Black picks up the rook on c1, but after rook c1 we look at the material and we see it's just over. King c8 was played, Magnus took, and f4, and at this point there was nothing to play for. If knight g4, there is bishop e6 check happening. Li Chao resigned at this point. I hope you enjoyed this game. It's not exactly the style of Magnus. We don't see him playing like this, such complicated messy games, but that is not his compulsion. So when he plays strategic game or the so-called dry game or the technical game, it is not because he's scared or he's not capable of playing complicated position, because when he gets to a messy position, he actually plays brilliantly. So when it comes to calculation, he is also the boss. So this game, I think, underlines his imagination, skill and calculating abilities. The way he conducted this entire attack throughout this game, it's phenomenal. So this is one of my favorite game also. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the final episode of this series. Bye bye.